me. I was telling him the story, and that I wanted to leave Chicago, but they said I couldn't leave. So he told me to start taking my wardrobe out a little bit at a time each night, like hiding it under my coat and everything, because it was winter time. And I had my car parked in the garage next to the 606 Club. So that's what I did. And on the final night, he said, like, leave one or two costumes, and don't bother to get your pay. And he said, leave, get to that hotel. If those gangsters are following you, he said, arrange he said that he would go that night, and he would get my car out of the garage where I parked it, and I walked from the garage to the hotel because these gangsters always watched me. So the young policeman stayed where my car was, and he knew that I was already packed. So we waited until the gangsters, they saw me turn the light off in the hotel room,
right.
Blah, blah, blah. So anyway, after they were no longer around, I guess they told their boss, I was settled in and going to bed and the light was out, blah, blah. So anyway, I picked up my little dog Beep Beep, a little toy Manchester I had, and I went downstairs and out through the kitchen because I had told the guy at the desk that I was going to be leaving and not to tell anybody, and I would leave the key to the room in the room, and I had to go out that back entrance where the policeman, I took the luggage down, and I got in the car, and I had bought some no-dose pills, and he had a thermos full of black coffee for me, and he said, just drive and keep driving. Don't
Don't
stop,
look back.
Don't look back. And I've never been to Chicago since.
That was my next question, if you ever went back to Chicago.
No. Isn't that amazing?
Oh,
no.
My God.
No.
So if it isn't Saudi kings trying to kidnap you and make you their sex slave, it's Chicago dance. It's Chicago gangsters.
Oh yeah, I thought it was all comic book stuff. The Chicago thing. But back in those days, there was in Cicero and everything, like girlfriends of mobsters and everything, or if the girls didn't do what the mobster guys wanted them to do, they'd throw lye in their face.
Oh yeah, it was not easy.
Name them. So I said, oh no, Chicago isn't for me. So.
Well, you played Dallas, didn't you?
I played Dallas.
Okay,
yeah.
so did you ever cross paths with Jack Ruby?
No, he called me when I was working at the Theater Lounge and becoming, a little bit of a name. He called me to go to work for him, but I had already been told that he was a horrible person. So I said, no, I'm very happy where I am. So, no, I
never crossed paths with him. Yeah, horrible person, but apparently very patriotic.
Yeah, right. Yeah, right.
In the end, he was very patriotic. So,
exactly.
Okay, so so you never crossed paths with Jack Ruby then?
No.
So, all right, so what's next for you?
What's next for me? Well, the book, the drink is out. Oh, I think I'm going to have some T-shirts made up and some cards with my picture on one side and drink on the other.
Oh, yes.
And I met this young woman. Again, boy, a lot of good things have been happening to me in Toronto. I met this Sandra Roberts, who is the editor-publisher of a magazine in Canada and parts of the U.S. called Pi, P-I-E.
Okay.
And this month's issue, she went to California and went to the Hefner Mansion and interviewed Hugh Hefner. So he's on the cover of her magazine this month. And she also interviewed Dita Von Teese, and she asked Dita Von Teese who her inspiration was. And do you believe Dita Von Teese said, she named two people, I can't remember the first one, and me. and I told Sandra, I said, when Sandra was doing an interview with me on the 2nd, she did an interview with me on the 2nd of this month. And she said, I said, I didn't even know that Dita Von Teese knew me. And she looked at me and she said, April, everybody knows you. And I said, I'll be darned. So then I said something nice about Dita because I'm going to be in the November issue of Pi magazine, which is a very, very nice book. No nudie book. It's like a high-end magazine.
Okay.
Excuse me. So, she, like I said, she did the interview, and so I've got that magazine coming out. And then Caitlin Rieger, pardon me again, had the drink made up for me, and she's going to be filming a documentary. And I haven't talked to Leslie Zemeckis, but, I told this Sandra that I would like to get some book signings for, like, maybe Borders and Barnes & Noble.
Right, of course.
She said, no problem, because her being a publisher and editor, she can make,
she's got the connections. She can, get you in there.
Right. And then Caitlin has very good connections because she sent this 2-hour interview to somebody in TV. She had just done a thing for the Oprah network, and she sent this tape of the interview with me, and she said, April, they accepted it. They love your stories. And I said, but I only did a 2-hour interview. She said that was enough. So when she gets back from London, she wants to do further things with me. So who the heck knows? I mean, maybe 2012 is going to be a really good year, hopefully.
It's just that I for one, just with the information that I've seen on the internet, was fascinated with you. So I can't wait to get a hold of the book. I mean, I just, and we have to have you back on again because I still have many, 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 many questions to ask. But I want the book to come out first. I want people to get a hold of it. I'm going to get a copy of it, and just sure, cards and T-shirts and promote the recipe for your drink. That'd be great. So of course you can do that on your page. You're more than welcome to send it to us, and we'll post it on our pages as well.
Very good.
I for the past week of doing research on you, I have searched high and low, and I've looked under every rock I possibly could to find some dirt on you, to find someone who had a bad word to say about you, and I couldn't find one person who had a bad thing to say about April March.
Boy, that's terrific.
With the exception now of your daughter Cerise.
Yeah.
Now, you traumatized your daughter. This is it. This is the only dirt that I have on you. Your daughter, you told your daughter when she was in the 8th grade that if she studied hard and got good grades, you would get her a guitar. Yeah. Well, she claims that she studied hard and got the good grades, but you welched on the guitar.
I welched on the guitar.
That's it.
Yeah.
That's it. That's all we got on you.
Oh,
but
that's funny.
But she seems to have gotten over it. So
that's funny. We got to mention my granddaughter, Nicole Cerise. She's a very, very good hairstylist, makeup artist. Oh my goodness, you name it. She's got a wonderful website. It's Nicole Cerise, and she works in this upscale salon in Lawrenceville, New Jersey.
Mm-hmm.
And she's married to a wonderful young man called Matt Eventoff. And he's in politics. He's a strategist and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So his office is in Princeton, and they just got married 5 years ago. And so I've got to mention Nicole. She'll be mad at Grandmom.
By all means, sure. By all means.
I let her. She saw me on stage for the first time in Las Vegas 2 years ago. Both of my daughter Cerise, I never let her watch me perform until she was 21 years old.
Oh, that was a question I never got around to asking. Is your children? How did you break it to your children as to what you did for a living?
They knew what I did, but
they just never saw you.
Yeah, no, my daughter, and I turned down all, I never made any burlesque film. And now I wish I had of, because everybody is asking, for burlesque film. And I turned down like a nudie movie, walking through a nudist camp, and that was back in the early 70s, so Blaze Starr did that.
Oh, I saw that. I have a copy of that.
Yeah, just walking through sniffing the flowers.
That's
right?
it. Doris. Yeah, it was directed by a woman named Doris Wishman. My wife and I watched it, and it is such a hoot.
Yeah,
I can't think of the name of it off the top of my head, but it is such a hoot to watch it because in its day it was risque.
Yeah.
But you look at it today and it's just silly fun.
Yeah.
You know.
Right.
And so it was amazing. We watched Blaze Star and we're just thinking, okay, they didn't hire her for her acting. So they hired her because she's
right. Walk through. And then too, I have the distinction of being one of the very few that never had a breast enlargement. So,
were women getting in breast augmentations back then? Back 30, 40 years ago?
Back in the 60s. Yeah, back in the 60s it started in.
Okay.
And I did a show with Christine Jorgensen. She was the first woman to have a sex change.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
I did a club date with her in Oklahoma City years ago. So, oh my gosh, there's just so much to say.
Well, there is. There's much more that we need to discuss, and we would love to have you on again in the future. If you're willing to do so, we would love to talk to you again.
I'd love to, Mick. I really appreciate you asking me to do this.
I mean, it's an absolute joy talking to you, and I knew the stories that you have to tell. I know we're just scratching the surface, and it's really the tip of the iceberg. Her name is April March, and she is considered the First Lady of Burlesque. She has a book. When is the book coming out?
The book should be out sometime in next month. Dan, I just finished up. I finished taping like the last 5 years of my life, and I gave it to Dan to put together, add that to the manuscript and everything.
So sometime in November, the book will be out, and it is called The First Lady of Burlesque, The Memoirs of April March. And we look forward to getting a copy and reading it, and again, having you back on the air. April March, thank you for appearing on the Mick Show. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you, Mick. It was my pleasure, and I'll be talking to you soon.
Please do. Thank you very much. Have a good night.
You too.
Thank you. Bye-bye now. The one, the only, April March. Now, was that an education for you or what?
She was pretty cool.
Yeah. I just, like I said, we were just scratching the surface with her career and everything that she's encountered. So, again, thank you to April March, and we will go ahead and take a quick break, and we'll be back after that. You are listening to The Mick Show.